Everyone, welcome to today's Cambridge University Press ELT webinar. I'm absolutely delighted to welcome Vicky Saumell as today's presenter. Vicky holds a diploma in the theory and methodology of TESOL. She's a teacher and trainer as well as a product champion for Cambridge's Kids Box series and is the author of a very exciting new course for teachers, which she'll be telling you more about. So, over to you, Vicky. Okay, Vicky, got a slight problem. We can't hear you at the moment. Okay, we're just trying to fix that. Apologies.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Ah, great. Thanks very much. Sorry about that.
Okay, wonderful. Sorry for that. So, hi, welcome everybody. Good morning. At least it's morning where I am in Buenos Aires, and I can see we have people from all over the world. So I'm really thankful that you decided to join us today. What I will attempt to do, hopefully successfully, is to show you how we can use some digital tools that are available, most of them freely available, to enhance the primary classroom activities. So, shall we get started? I always want to say, sorry, Alistair, shall we turn off the camera first and make sure the bandwidth is preserved?
Okay, great. I'll do that right now. Thanks.
Okay, good to see you. All right,
Okay,
so
thanks.
Whenever I talk to teachers about integrating technology, I always like to focus on the language first and the teaching and the learning first, and not on the technology itself. So I always ask myself some questions, and today the questions are: what can technology allow you to do, especially in the primary classroom? And what is a set of useful tasks that we usually need in the classroom, and how does technology how can technology help us with that? So I'm not going to answer those questions now. I'm going to get back to these two questions at the end of the session, and hopefully we'll have some answers. So let's begin with the very, very basics of what we need for integrating technology. We can go two ways. Either you have a mobile device with an internet connection, or you have a PC or a laptop with a webcam and a headset with a microphone and an internet connection. Mobile devices makes everything easier, because everything we need is integrated into the mobile device, the webcam, the microphone, etc. But I am going to show you alternatives for using both mobile devices and software on laptops or computers, applications on computers, so we can choose according to our context and according to what we have at school. Many schools have computer labs that we can go to, so we can make use of all the laptop or PC apps and websites I'll show you. Other schools make use of students' mobile devices or have class sets of mobile devices to use with students. So whichever your context, today you will find lots of things that you can use immediately. So let's start with some of the ideas I am bringing for you today. The first thing that technology allows us to do is to enhance speaking tasks. For a long time, speaking tasks were bound to the classroom, and it was difficult to set speaking tasks homework. At least we could not check that these speaking tasks had been done. So with the help of technology these days, I can do speaking tasks and I can assign speaking tasks as homework mediated by a set of technology tools that I'm going to show you today. And what kind of speaking tasks you could do? Well, you can see on the screen that we have some ideas here, but instead of running through these ideas, I am going to show you our first tool of the day, explaining this.
There are lots of apps that you can use. There are lots of apps that you can use to do speaking tasks. You can do personalization tasks where students are themselves, but you can also have students pretend they are characters from the course book or a book they're
There's no
reading
audio, is it?
and speak from their point of view. Or you could do exam practice speaking tasks like describing pictures or finding differences.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, brilliant. Okay, great. So what you have just seen is our first tool today, which is Voki. Voki is a web-based application. It is free, and it allows you to create speaking avatars. These avatars can resemble human beings, as the one I showed you. So you can actually make an avatar that looks a bit like you or not. But there are also ready-made avatars for historical characters, as you can see on the slide, like Abraham Lincoln or Barack Obama, among many others. There are also lots of animals. There are dogs, there are cats, there's a koala, as you can see here. There are also kinds of aliens or monsters that you can create. Whichever character you choose, you can customize this character by adding different clothes or glasses, or changing the skin color, or adding hats and accessories. And then you can record your voice to make the speaking avatar speak. The way you share this is through a link. You send a link to through email, or you can embed this Voki into a website so that others can see it and hear it. The benefit of using speaking avatars in the younger learner classroom is especially that you don't need to use the student's own images, which is always something we tend to avoid in very young learners' classrooms. So we can have students' voices, but we don't need the students' images. Another thing I've found with young learners is that many students are very shy about recording themselves on camera, and using a speaking avatar with an image other than themselves can be very relieving for shy students. So I think so there's a twofold benefit in using speaking avatars. So not using students' images, and also hoping that shy students will feel more comfortable about adding the voice to a different image than themselves. Um, so these are very easy. This is very easy to set up, as you can see in the upper right corner, where you can see kind of the control panel of the Voki. You see all the things that you can change. You can also change the background, etc. So very easy to do. Usually students have no problem at all learning how to use this tool. So this is our first tool today, Voki. It's web-based, it's free, so you can access it on any computer. Let's move on to our next tool. And our next tool is called ChatterPix. And ChatterPix works on iOS. That is, it works on iPhone and iPad. And what it does is it allows you to upload a picture of, it could be a photograph or it could be an illustration, as in this case, and then you can do this. Can we see the second video?
I'm Stella and Susie's brother. My favorite pet is a mouse. I like playing basketball and hockey, but I hate cleaning my room.
Okay, so what I've done here is I have taken a picture of one of the course book characters and I have made him speak. So what I'm doing is, instead of being myself, as I was in the first video we showed you, where I was myself behind a speaking avatar speaking to you, in this case I become somebody else. I pretend I am Simon and I speak from his point of view. So I think this is also very interesting for children, and it's a very interesting way of making them show what they know about a certain character, either in the course book or in a book they are reading. It could also be a historical character. If you are doing CLIL in the Young Learner classroom, you can ask students to put up a picture of, I don't know, a president or a historical figure, and they can speak through their point of view. So again, very easy to do. What you do when you upload your picture onto ChatterPix is you draw a line over the person or the face, over the mouth, and then the application creates the illusion that the mouth is moving. You record your speech and it looks like the photo is speaking. Now you can also do that with objects, and you can make objects talk. So you could upload a picture of an orange and make the orange speak, or you could upload a picture of a table or anything. So you could start doing some more creative activities about what would certain objects say in certain situations, and start thinking from different point of view. Yes, you can become your favorite star. Yeah, I love that, Ingrid. Absolutely. So very easy. You upload a picture, you draw a line over the mouth, record the speech, and there you are. The picture is speaking. You can use any picture for that. Let's move on to our next tool, and this is called PhotoBubble. And in PhotoBubble, what you do is you upload a picture and you record a narration on top of it. I think PhotoBubble is ideal for exam preparation speaking tasks, like describing a picture or finding differences. So I'm going to show you the next idea. Yes, and we're going to see the next video, which is an example of PhotoBubble.
This is my neighborhood. I go to the supermarket with my mom on Saturdays. Next to the supermarket, there is a bank. And on the other side of the supermarket, to the left, there's a hospital. In front of the supermarket, there's a square where I usually take my dog for a walk. There's also a sports center and a swimming pool. Near the bank, there's a cinema. Part of the neighborhood is very close to my house. I usually walk there with my mom at least twice a week.
Okay, so that was a bit quiet, I know. I apologize for that. But this is for you to see the kind of activities that you could be doing. You could be taking pictures of from the course book that lend themselves um, to speaking tasks. As Maria Teresa is saying, you could record something and make it a listening task for students. So there are plenty of opportunities here for speaking practice. Now, let's go and have a look at the next video. It's also a PhotoBubble, but it's showing you another type of task that you could be doing with it. This is finding differences between similar pictures.
These are some of the differences I can see between picture 1 and picture 2. In picture 1, the husband and wife are sitting on the floor, but in picture 2, they are sitting on chairs. In picture 1, there are 2 oranges, but there is only one in picture 2. The boy is eating a sandwich in picture 1 in the foreground, but in picture 2, he is eating an apple. The girl in the background is writing or drawing in picture 1, but she is reading a book in picture 2.
So this was another example of what you could be doing with PhotoBubble and the kind of speaking tasks you can do. And as many people are suggesting, is you could also do this as listening task. If you record yourself on a PhotoBubble and then you have created a listening task for students, the absolute advantage of this is that this can be done as homework. You don't need to be using time in the classroom for speaking, or not only time in the class for speaking. Students can send you their PhotoBubbles or their ChatterPix or anything they have created, and you can listen to it from the comfort of your home and assess their speaking. Another great advantage of recording students' audio is that you can keep a record of students' progress from the beginning of the year to the end of the school year, and you could then go back and say, okay, this is how you spoke at the beginning of the year, and look at all the progress you have made. Also, it's something you can easily share with the community, with the parents, with the families, so that they can actually see what their children are doing. So lots of advantages that technology has brought about by allowing us to record audio. Yes, so we'll go back to that later in the session. Let's move on to our next type of activities. We saw this one, the differences. And another type of activities that we can do is telling stories. I really enjoy, and my students really enjoy doing storytelling. But with the help of technology, we can do digital storytelling. And what we could do is we could be telling stories based on a lot of different stimuli. So, for example, if you are using a course book, course books usually have stories. So you could use the same stories in the course book and then have students record what they remember about the story or retell the story. Of course, you could tell stories based on other types of images. And other types of images could be drawings made by students to tell a story, or they could be pictures from other books or other stories. Yes, I have some board games, card games that are about storytelling, and I can take pictures of those cards and then have students create a story with the pictures they have chosen. You could also have students take photographs in order to create a story, some kind of like the photo stories, the photo novels that we could see in some books. So they could take the photographs and then create the pictures, the stories, I mean. And another idea could be to use other kinds of prompts, and we are going to get to that, using other kinds of visual prompts to get students talk about a story or tell a story. So let's have a look at a few examples I have prepared. My favorite tool for creating stories is called Adobe Voice. And Adobe Voice is works on iOS, again, iPhones and iPads, and it's free. But there are other tools that you can use on Android. I will give you a list at the end of the session of alternative tools. What you can do with Adobe Voice is you can upload a set or a sequence of pictures, and then you can record audio for each of the pictures, so that then when you play it together, it's a story. The first example I'm going to show you is a story taken from Kids Box, from the course book. And so I have taken pictures of each of the parts of the sequence of the story, and I have recorded the story for you. Let's have a look.
Today, Mira and her family are moving. Two men are carrying the sofa to the lorry. Her new address is 14 Park Road. It's a flat. There's a lift, but it's very small. The men can't take the sofa in the lift. They need to carry it up the stairs. Mira is helping. She is taking a lamp upstairs. She is smiling because she can go in the lift. The men are climbing the stairs with the sofa. It's difficult to carry. Now the men are sitting on the sofa. They are having a break. They need a drink.
Okay, so you could see how easy and how nice it looks, and it's very easy. It's a set of 6 pictures. I uploaded them, then I recorded the audio for each, and then when you play it together, it's a story. So you can see in this case, the course book already had the story. But in the next example I'm going to show you, I took a set of pictures from an exercise and turned them into a story. It was not a story itself in the course book. Can we have a look at the next video, please?
This is Tom. He gets up at 7 o'clock in the morning and gets dressed to go to school. He catches the bus at 8 to take him to school, and he does his homework on the way. His lessons start at 9. He goes into class and says hi to his teacher. At 11 o'clock, they are out to play. When he gets back home, he washes his hands before dinner, and at 9 he gets undressed and goes to bed.
Okay, so in this case, in the first case, the one we saw before, the students could rely on their memory from what they had written, from they had read the story in the course book. But in this case, there was no text for them to rely on. They had to make up their own sentences to tell the sequence of this child's routine. So again, if we analyze the problem of catering for different levels, this could be simply telling the time, like at 9 o'clock, John goes to school. At 7 o'clock, he gets up. And then you can move up the language ladder and add as much information as you can if your students are more advanced. You can make it as simple as possible. Still, students may be able to say a couple of sentences about a picture. So Adobe Voice, very easy to use, but there are other alternatives, and I promise I will show you later. So telling stories. Now, I told you we could do storytelling by prompting students with other kinds of prompts, like, for example, a word art poster. Have you ever seen this kind of word poster before? Okay, wonderful. For those who have seen it and for those who haven't, this one in particular I've done with Wordle. I'm going to type it in the Wordle. This works on a computer, so it's a website, but there are other apps like Word Salad, yes, that can be used on mobile phones. So you could be creating things like this on your computers or on mobile phones. Now, does anybody realize what story this set of words shows? Does anybody know? It's a very famous story for children. Yeah, Donna, absolutely. It's Where the Wild Things Are. So what I have done is I've taken the text of Where the Wild Things Are and I have put it into Wordle, and it has created this poster displaying the main words that appear in the story over and over again. If the children have not read the story, you can use this as a prediction activity. So we are going to read a story, and these are some of the words that appear. What do you think the story will be about? So that's one possibility. A second possibility, if showing students this after they have written after they have read the story, so that they can reproduce and retell the story by having a look at the words that they see there. So they could be retelling the stories again, and you could have this as the first image in the story. You could have students drawing some of their favorite parts in the story to tell the story again, for example. So yes, as Rizwana is saying, there's this kind of word posters are great for activating new vocabulary. Okay, really, really good. You could be doing thematic posters. Yes, topic vocabulary, parts of the house or parts of the body or vegetables or things, and put them in posters like this, and then use these posters with students. So another kind of prompt to get students to tell a story. Okay, so I'm going to move now to our last set of tasks. And another thing you can have students do with technology that was absolutely impossible before is creating videos. And we said that one of the main problems with young learners is using their own images in this kind of products. But there are lots of videos that you can use or create without using the students' images themselves. For example, you could create a how-to video or how to make something or how to cook something, and you could only show the student's hands, so you don't have to show the student's face. Another thing you can do is you can do videos of first-person videos where the person is filming with not showing himself, or tours, a tour of a house or a tour of your school or a tour of your neighborhood. And as you record this walking tour of your house or the school or the neighborhood, students explain what they are doing or what we are seeing. If filming the students is not a problem, then you can be doing interviews where students record themselves, ask themselves, or characterized as certain characters interviewing each other. Let's have a look at one very simple example of a first-person video using a tool called Mail View, which allows you to record a video, speak on it, and then send it by email. Have a look, please.
Hi, I'm Vicky, and I'm going to show you some of my clothes. These are my boots. These are my jeans. This is a t-shirt. These are my blue tennis shoes. And this is a colorful skirt.
Okay, so this is a very simple personalization activity that we can do for clothes, but we could be doing this for the house, parts of the house. We could be doing this for what do you have in your school bag, and take out everything you have in your school bag and explain, or what food do you eat, open your fridge, film what you have. So very, very simple personalization tasks where students create their own videos and share them with others, with the teacher and with the other classmates. Again, as I said, this is called MailView, and it's a free app, and this works on computers, but also on iOS and Android. And you record a short video, you speak, and then you share by email. If you want, and you don't want to use an application, you just use a mobile phone's camera to record the video, and then you share it. Yes, there's no problem with that at all. So we talked about three sets or subsets of tasks that we could do with digital tools. We talked about doing speaking tasks, we talked about telling stories, and we talked about creating videos. Now, I have separated creating videos from speaking tasks because we are also providing the visual element, and the students have to create this video. And I think this makes the task a bit more complex, but quite challenging and quite interesting for students. They love creating their own videos. Now, I'm going to take 5 or 10 minutes now to have a look at not at digital tools that are free, but at digital tools that sometimes the publishers offer us as part of a course book package. And many course books today come with presentation software, which allows you to see the whole contents of a book on a screen. It could be an interactive whiteboard, but it could just be a projector and a screen. And many times we end up underusing the capabilities of this presentation software because we just use it to display a coursebook page so that it's big enough and everybody can see it. But I am going to go over 5 of the main tools in presentation software generically, and the kind of things that you could be doing to make it more interactive. Okay, so the first tool in a presentation software I will focus on is the zoom. What kind of things can you do with the zoom? Instead of showing the whole page, you could zoom in on a particular part of a picture to predict. Yes, if it's a set of pictures, a sequence of pictures telling a story, you can zoom in on the first picture and predict what the rest of the story is going to be. You could also focus on a part of the pic and describe only that part, and then zoom out to see the whole picture. You could zoom in on different sets of pics and ask students to make connections. What do all these have in common, for example? Or you could be doing close-ups of objects and have students guessing what objects they are. Let me show you some ideas here in practice. You can, for example, if the coursebook offers you a set of pictures like this, you can zoom in to the pictures. You can have students make connections like, okay, what categories of food do you have here? Which are fruits, which are vegetables, etc., etc., which are healthy, which are unhealthy. On the right side, you have 2 close-up pictures that I have zoomed in from the course book, and they show sports. So you can have students guess what sport it is. So this is badminton, and this one is table tennis, for example. So some ideas of what you can be doing with the Zoom. Now, another tool that presentation software usually offers is the highlighter. And with highlighter, you can check answers and highlight the right answers of an exercise. You can, in a text, show lexical sets, that is, words that relate to the same topic, animals, parts of the body, etc. You can show chunks of language, words that usually go together, and you can also focus on pronunciation if you are dealing with sounds, for example. In this example, I have highlighted all the or some of the verbs ending in ing, so that I want to focus students' attention on those verbs, and then I can do the grammar explanation if I want. So just a few ideas on using the highlight tool. Another tool that's very useful is the mask tool. The mask tool allows you to cover a part of the screen. Again, what you can do is you can cover the written part of an exercise and leave the pictures only, and do predictions. It could be photo story predictions, or in the case of listening activities, there is usually a picture prompt. So you could be showing the picture prompt and covering the story or the listening script to do prediction kinds of tasks. For example, in this case, this is a song. These are the images in a song, and I have covered the song, so the students cannot see it. So I can ask them what they think the song will be about. I can elicit vocabulary and language and grammatical structures if I want. And once I have created a kind of interest on the song, I can remove the mask and have a look at the song. Or I can listen to the song first without seeing the lyrics, and then remove the mask and show the lyrics of the song. Another tool you can use is the pen and eraser tool, of course, to elicit grammar rules, to fill in vocabulary exercises, to annotate texts, to label pics. For example, you could have students come to the front and label the different vocabulary on the pictures and on the screen. So you could be using this kind of presentation software to make the tasks more interactive for students. The last tool I'm going to focus on is the sticky notes. And the sticky notes are a very interesting tool because you can put a sticky note on any part of the screen. The sticky note will remain there, will be saved. So you could be planning tasks, writing reminders for yourself, or task extension ideas or prompts for students. You will close the presentation software, but the next time you open it, maybe with a different class, those ideas are still there. So your planning is done once and it remains. Okay, so let's have a look at an example. Yes, I can put a sticky note on this task, reminding myself what I want to do with it. I want students to label the picture first with the objects they can recognize, and then I'm going to ask concept questions about the picture. Where is it? What are they doing? Who are the people in the picture? And then I may do a true or false, or have students do a true or false about the picture. And this is a listening activity. So I am planning to do much more than just the listening activity. And I am reminding myself of some of the ideas I had when I was planning. So when you minimize this, it only looks like a sticky note. When you open it, you can read it, okay? So it's not obstructing the picture. So as I said at the so these are some of the things that you can do with presentation software to really use all of its features. But I want to go back to the questions at the beginning of the session. And the questions were, what is a set of useful tasks for the primary classroom? And what can technology allow you to do with those tasks? How can we enhance or make those tasks easier or better with technology? And I have compiled a list of useful tasks. You can digitalize paper materials. You can work with images, with words, with audio, and with video. So technology is allowing us to do a lot more work very easily. And of course, all this digital work is very easy to share. Now, these 5 sets of tasks are the structure of the primary digital teacher training course I have written for Cambridge University Press. And so after an introduction on what are apps and what is software and how you can use it, etc., then we focus on this particular sets of tasks with lots of examples and projects for you to learn how to use all these tools and to learn how to integrate the technology effectively in the young learner classroom. So if you are interested in accessing this course, I guess you can ask our Cambridge representatives and they will tell you how you can do it. I think it's time for question and answers now. So these are all the tools and some other options that I have provided for you. And shall we start with the questions?
Yes, let's go to some questions. I should also say, just before we go to the questions, a couple of things. Firstly, thank you very much, Vicky. That was really engaging, really interesting, and we've got a lot of really positive comments in the chat. And also to say that if anyone would like to get free access to that course, we'll have a poll open in the next minute or so, where you can just tick which boxes you would like and get access to that. But to move on to the questions, question from Olive Corsol, who says, what can we do with parents who are resistant to using technology for language learning? Olive says she knows some parents who want to limit their children's use of smartphones, for instance. How do we work around that?
I think the most important thing is to, if you really want to start using technology with students in the classroom and outside of the classroom, you have to be very clear about your aims and communicate with parents. So set up a parents meeting at the beginning of the school year, explain why you want to use technology. Show them a couple of examples so that they can see that you're going to be doing very valuable things with technology. It's not wasting their time. I guess many parents are worried about students spending too much on the computers or their phones because they think they are wasting their time. If you show them that you will be doing things that will result in learning, I'm sure most parents will agree. If you have already had contact with parents in this way, maybe you only need to send a letter explaining this and then get parents to sign it or give permission if you want. But I haven't found too much resistance when I have clearly explained what I want to do and why.
Okay, thanks. A question from Christine Sutter-Chandley, who asks whether children would need supervision and help with using these tools, or how much they need.
Yeah, you would definitely do a sample task with them for the first time so that they get the idea of how to use it. If you have an interactive whiteboard or a projector on a screen, you can model the use of the tool the first time so they can see clearly what they have to do and the sequence. Anyway, the tools I have shown you are very, very easy to use. But anyway, do a model task first, and then you can get them on their way.
Okay, thanks. Question from Sian Druce Bennett, asking particularly about mail view, but I think it's important to be sure about this for a lot of the tools. Are they safe for young learners? There's no worries about them stumbling across anything inappropriate.
Yes, they are safe in this sense. They are not tied to social media. So it's not like there's a community of users sharing things with each other so that they can see other things shared by other people. What they create is hidden behind a link. The only person who can see that video is the person who has the link. So it will depend on who you share the link with. But other than that, it's private.
So do you make sure to educate the young learners about the importance of not sharing those links too widely?
Absolutely. I think one of the main things we have to do as teachers if we want to integrate technology is teach students about the dangers of sharing private information. And so that's part of our teaching duties.
Okay, thanks. Question now from Luis Soria, who wonders, moving slightly off topic here, but wonders if you've got any suggestions for using word clouds with older students, maybe even college students.
Absolutely. I have used word clouds for doing collocations, for example. I have used word clouds for analyzing, for example, political speeches content. For example, you take Obama's inauguration speech from his first presidency and then the second one, and you can compare what topics are repeated, what ideas are repeated, with what's new, what is he focusing on. I think you can do a lot of discourse, kind of discourse analysis with word clouds at higher levels.
Thanks. Question from Rizwana Bari, who asks whether teachers should include these learner projects in their final assessments for English language.
Well, this definitely depends on what your school expects. I certainly think that including this as part of the assessment is very positive. You could include all of these products, or you could have students create an e-portfolio saying which of the pieces that they created during the year they want to include for their final assessment. Like, okay, choose 3 pieces of work that represent you and your progress.
Yes, that's a nice idea. A question now from Christine, who wonders how appropriate these tools would be for distance learning, online or during Skype lessons. Do you think they would help with that?
Absolutely. I mean, many of the tools can be shared by links. So even if you're doing Skype lessons, you could be sharing the links and having a look. If you're doing Skype lessons, you could also be doing free. There are some free web conferencing platforms. You don't have to pay anything to use them. And they might be a good idea or a good alternative to Skype, because then you can share the images or the videos directly on screen.
Okay, thanks. And quite a speculative question now, but and it's from me, must confess. But I'm very interested to know what you think will happen next with tools like this, or what tool would you like to see that isn't currently available that would be useful?
Oh,
Very hard question. I apologize.
it's a very hard question. No, it's okay. The problem these days is that many tools which start as free tools, they eventually become a premium. They have to pay to use them.
Yes.
So there are many tools which I used to use and I don't use anymore because now I have to pay. Not because I don't want to pay, but because most teachers need free tools to use. They kind of ask, you kind of ask their students to pay for 4 or 5 different tools. So you end up looking for new tools that are free. However, there are some tools which have remained free over the years, and so I tend to keep to those. And those are the ones we have suggested in the course, tools that have been free for a while and they appear to remain free. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Do we have any more questions for Vicky? I've got one from Christine who asks, when you were looking at the storytelling ideas based on visual prompts, how do you focus attention on target vocabulary during that?
Well, if you take the pictures from the course book, then they are certainly going to be tied to the vocabulary you are teaching. You're usually related. If you are going to do something completely new, based on something else, you can provide certain requirements for the pictures. Like this story has to be about, or there has to be food in it, or there has to be, I don't know. But you couldn't find ways of forcing students to use certain target vocabulary. Or you could provide the pictures and then the target vocabulary is there.
Okay, thank you very much. Just see if we have another question or so, but so no, I think you've answered everyone's questions, Vicky. So thank you very much for that. Thank you for a really engaging session, and we'll keep the poll open for another few minutes, just in case anyone who hasn't already let us know that you'd like access to the course, the online digital teacher training course by Vicky, which is definitely worth taking a good look at. Very educational, very helpful. And also the people behind Voki have been in touch with us to let us know that if you'd like a free 2-month trial of Voki Teach Classroom and Presenter, if you let us know in that poll, then we can also sort that out and we'll pass your details on to them. So I think that's everything then. So just to let you know that we'll be back next Tuesday with 2 webinars at 9 o'clock in the morning UK time. So that's 6 hours earlier than usual, 7 hours than we're at now. Jack Richards will be joining us for a session on learning beyond the classroom. And then at 3 p.m, so our usual time, Anne Robinson will be talking about moving and flying with your coursebook. So that's very relevant, obviously, for young learners. And you can sign up for both of those and for all of our forthcoming webinars at our events page. And I'm just typing the URL for that into the chat now, which is why I'm slightly slowing down because I'm struggling to multitask here. But yeah, there's the URL in the chat. The recording of today's webinar should be live on our blog and YouTube channel next week, and we'll send you a certificate next week too. And apologies again for the delay in sending out the certificates for the last few webinars, but you should have received all of those earlier today. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you particularly, Vicky, and we'll end there. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us.